Paris Johnson to the Las Vegas Raiders. I think they'll do that. They'll get a tight end somewhere, maybe in the second round, or a defensive player. Then I got Paris Johnson. Oh, wait, did I mess that up? Oh, no, Paris Johnson. Then Brian Robinson, Bijan Robinson. Man, I'm looking at my notes. I got him going in the top 10, the running back. How about that, Marshall? And I got him going to Atlanta Falcons. If you want to win now, make an imprint on your football team. He's the guy. And then the Chicago Bears, I got Peter Skoronski, the left tackle for Northwestern. He could be a guard, whatever. Very impressive. And then last, how about this to Philadelphia? I don't know how much you guys watch of it, but Nolan Smith from Georgia. He ran at the combines. He's an edge rusher in the 4.3s. I mean, it's about, to me, everybody talks about the quarterbacks, but who's going to hit the quarterback? And he's one of these guys that can hit the quarterback. So I'll leave the rest up to you guys to what you think.
I'm so interested in your top 10 picks because a lot of the mock drafts that we've seen have come out have been really quarterback happy. You know, you have some talented guys who have a lot of tools in this draft, and you have teams that need quarterbacks, but a lot of these teams need things other than quarterbacks. And so I think it's so interesting that your top 10 picks with these teams addresses some of those other needs that the teams have, where they can find value that might actually end up being more value than a quarterback right now. I think you're 100% right with Bryce Young. I don't know if anyone on the call today would disagree with you on Bryce Young, but like you said, once we go to pick 2 with Houston, everything's up in the air. And so in my opinion, I'll give this opinion and then we can get the opinions of Marshall and Justin. But in my opinion, that pick in Houston, you know, you have a very, very strong front office in Nick Caserio. I somehow feel like this pick might be a Caserio pick, but the city of Houston loves D'Amico so much. He might get his way. And if he gets his way, I think that he would make a choice to potentially either trade down and get more picks, or like you said, go with an edge rusher because he wants to make sure that the Houston Texans have a formidable defense. But that's just my opinion. So I would take this time right now to really poll the MVP in the room and see what Marshall Faulk thinks about the number 2 pick and where we go from there.
Yeah, I think it's easy. We know Bryce is a slam dunk at 1. And 2, I think it's pretty interesting. There's 2 rules of thumb here when you think about what the Houston Texans want to do and with D'Amico Ryans. Although trading back would put you in a space to where you can get more players, what I like about taking that centerpiece at 2, if it's Will Anderson Jr., is now you have a guy that you can build around. Think about all the number 1 early picks that the San Francisco 49ers built around during the D'Amico Ryans era. It wasn't late first round. It wasn't second. It was first round picks, guys you know that for the first 4 years, they're going to get after the quarterback, get a lot of sacks, and then you have to decide, do you pay them or let them go elsewhere? When I look at it, I think Will is the one guy that you can build around. It's like hands down, he's the one guy that on day 1, when he shows up, he's going to stack sacks and then get other guys sacks. And that's the kind of impact player you need. That second pick for me is that. And I think Arizona at 3. Tyree Wilson, edge rusher. I think it goes how everybody is saying. The Colts, they need a quarterback. They've played too many games with quarterbacks. They've tried everything but, you know, drafting a young guy and giving him a chance to really do it this way. And then I go with Phil, Seattle. Jalen Carter is sitting there. When you look at Schneider and what they've done, you got to build from the inside out. And defense has always been Pete Carroll's thing. And this is the guy you can build around as well.
I agree.
I agree,
Justin.
Quick, everybody. I look at this when you talk about the draft, that second pick is going to set a lot of things, but everybody's doing what in the AFC South? They're chasing Trevor Lawrence. The other 3 teams, they don't have franchise quarterbacks. Can they fix it in this draft? So that's going to be interesting to see.
So, Justin, before you give your opinion, I don't know if you just saw a couple of your teammates, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, came out with the championship trophy. Oh, they are having a great time tonight. Okay.
Hey, there's a phrase that we love in Kansas City: is reigning champs. We're champions until somebody takes that trophy away from us.
I love that. Go ahead.
I think I might be in the minority here, but I've watched enough football games to know that you cannot win in this league without a quarterback. And I think Phil hit it on the head with the Colts. I think they're a sure thing to draft a quarterback. And I think with the Houston Texans, you don't ever plan on drafting in the top two. And we see how huge that last game of this past season, when they had converted 2 4th downs on the last drive of the season to win that game, that bumped them to number 2. But when you get picks 1 or 2, I think you have to do one of two things. You either have to draft your franchise quarterback, which I think CJ Stroud is, or you trade back and you get a ton of draft capital. But I think they're going to stick at 2 and draft CJ Stroud. I don't think they're going to get quite a haul just because there's 4. I think there's really 5 great quarterbacks. I think Hendon Hooker from Tennessee is a fantastic quarterback. So I don't think a team is going to overtrade to move up to that number 2 spot. I think Houston sticks in there and drafts CJ Stroud and hopes he's their quarterback for the future.
We have some really great comments and questions in the chat really fast, if y'all don't mind. So Lauren A., if you can go ahead and unmute yourself. She had a comment about the Cowboys and about Bijan as well. So Lauren, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, so we had the Alamo Bowl down here in San Antonio, and Texas, of course, likes to go there quite often. And Bijan said, "I'm not going to play in the bowl game. I'm getting ready for the NFL draft." So, do you think by him resting himself, that'll make him more have a higher chance of being one of the early ones to go in that first round?
Well, let me say this. We talk about running backs, and I do think he's going to go high. And if you want to change your football team, that's why I took him and said he's going to go number 8 to Atlanta. Arthur Smith, run the football. Come on, Marshall, I want to hear from you. We look at all these guys. I'm not looking for 10 years. Man, give me 5 years. Big-time running backs, give me 5 years, and it can change your football team right away. I want to hear what Marshall says about these running backs.
Hey, here's how it is, Bill. When you look at Bijan, the question is this, and I stick to this. If Bijan, if he wants to play longer and be effective, get drafted anywhere from 8 to 20, that you're going to find yourself a good team with the quarterback. Here's the bad thing about going top 5 as a running back. You're usually playing on a bad team with a bad quarterback, and they're asking you to save the team. Now, when you look at, and I want to address this, Ezekiel Elliott was an outlier. He went to a team that played bad, but they were better. And then he went to probably the best offensive line in the league. That was the Cowboys at the time when Zeke got there was the best offensive line in the league. Throughout his tenure, that line deteriorated, and he started running behind a line that wasn't as good. And it was tough for him. When I look at Bijan is definitely a guy that can change the landscape of your team. But without a quarterback, it's tough being a running back in today's NFL. It is. You have to have somebody that's not just capable, but someone who they respect, that they're not going to stack the box on you. And when they do, you don't just hurt them. You beat them, and you beat them bad. I like the rest of the running backs in his draft. I just think that Bijan is one of one. I think a guy for me, Charbonnet, Gibbs, the kid Spears out of Tulane really showed something. There's a lot of opportunity in this draft to get you a back that can really help your team. The question is, are teams going to move up to get it back because the league is devalued to position because running backs now like playing running back by committee. Nobody wants to be the bell cow, and that's even in college.
Yeah, good point.
All right, we do have another question. Nick D, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself. Nick D, you had a question?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Jay Watt. First of all, that's my guy, Jay Watt. Go Quakers. Man.
And Quaker right there. Knows a thing or two about offensive line.
What can I say, Jay Watt? I didn't quite go 5th round like you. Maybe health goes one way or another. But, hey, all things aside, want to hear your opinion. First receiver taken. Who is it? Where does he go? Talk to me.
Zay Flowers?
Yeah, I think there's been a ton of buzz about Zay Flowers, and I think he's a total stud. I think Jackson Smith and Jake Buck still goes first. I think what's really helping him is, Jamar Chase was a guy in a similar situation, sat out a year, got drafted high, and in his rookie year, blew it out. Had an historic rookie season. So I think how much production he had in the year previous bolsters him to that first receiver off the board. Phil, who do you think? Who do you think is a good landing spot for Jackson Smith?
Anywhere he goes, I think it's up to him and Zay Flowers which one of the two is gonna. I like Zay Flowers just because if he catches it, he can go 80 yards. Jackson Smith and Jigma, he's a good route runner, all that makes people miss in the open field. But I like the explosiveness of Zay Flowers, and I know he's been climbing up as people watch him more and more. And that's just me. I want that slot guy. If I throw it to him, man, if he can make somebody miss, can you turn and outrun everybody? I think that, Justin, if it works that way. And Zay Flowers is that guy. But if I had to bet money, I say it'll be the other way around. They'll go Jackson Smith and Jigma just because maybe he's a little safer. We feel better because he's a bigger guy. I don't know. But my pick is Zay Flowers for sure.
I'll say this about Zay Flowers. I think if he starts getting down, if he's still available and we start getting into picks 18, 19, 20, I think there's a very real chance you could see the Kansas City Chiefs move up in this draft and get him. I've been around. I know he's exactly the type of guy they love. He worked out with Pat Mahomes when we had our workouts down there in Texas, and it went really well. And Chiefs have a lot of picks. They have 10 picks in this draft, and they're about quality over quantity. So I could see them condensing some of those 10 picks, getting 3 or 4 guys that really love in this draft.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Chris, we got our first pick.
Phil.
We do.
Yes.
We do. I was going to just let him talk football. Go for it.
Hey, Phil, real quick. Think about the Ohio State receivers. You saw what Garrett Wilson did this year, and they're looking at them as that group, like the group of LSU receivers, and what they did and how they came into the league with Marshall and Jefferson, and then we saw what he's been doing the last couple of years. Ohio State, they've been producing those type of receivers, and so when you have that pedigree, it starts to fall in line because now you're looking at not just the receivers. You're like, they're being coached right.
Yeah. Well,
Olave and Garrett Wilson said that Smith and Jigba was the best receiver in that receiver room when they were there. So sorry for interrupting, but that's a big one.
That's okay. Interrupt. I'll say this. That's just a political answer. You think they really think that? Come on. We know better. Okay. They think they're the best. And that, look, they both had, I think, outstanding rookie years in the NFL. So,
well, we have had the first pick, like everyone knows, and as everyone assumed, Bryce Young taken at number 1. Now, this is great for Carolina. We know as players who have watched him play, we know what Carolina is getting. But Phil, I would like you to, for the uninitiated, can you explain to us what Carolina is getting in a Bryce Young, who might be an undersized quarterback but has so many intangibles on the table?
Well, look, he's been well taught down at Alabama. There's no doubt about that. He had Bill O'Brien, so they ran. Well, they run a pro football team offense down at Alabama. They got all the plays in that you see on Sundays in the NFL. Bryce Young, quick-footed. I think the best thing about him, well, many good things, his footwork and his feet. He's got feet like a ballerina. I mean, they are in the ground. He can move. He can get away from people, and his arm is good enough. It's not going to be a great NFL arm. It's not going to be in the top 10, as far as we look at it, power and all the other stuff that goes with it. But it's good enough. He's limber. He can make all the throws on the run. And listen, the size thing, I just say, look, he took a lot of big hits at Alabama too. If you watch the Texas game, he made some unbelievable throws by just getting absolutely smashed into the ground. And, the NFL, we can say all we want about Alabama, the SEC, Chris, and all that, everybody, but it's not the NFL. So this is going to be always a little transition for quarterbacks. Running backs, I think, they can handle it. Quarterbacks, it's just different. The size, the speed, and you got to be dead-eye accurate now in the NFL. So he's a really good football player. There's no doubt about it. That's what they say. Forget that he's a quarterback. He's a great football player, and he's a leader of men. So, yeah, I think it's a really safe pick.
I think so too. And so when you look at what the Panthers were able to do last year, you know, they had some moments where they struggled, but they were averaging just over 20 points per game. You add Bryce Young to the mix, and this offense could go from, you know, they have weapons. They have weapons, and he's going to find a way to get them the ball. So I think that this is great for Panthers fans. This is great for Panthers fans. But at this point in the draft, I think everything from here on out might be up in the air. Because
I'll just say this real quick, Chris. Oh, let me just say this real quick. Bryce Young, this is great because he's going to Carolina. This is not like a team that went 1-16 or anything like that. They got a lot of good pieces in that. So this is not a start over. So I think he has a good chance to have success early just because a lot of veterans there, a lot of what I call explosive players on both sides of the ball. I think they can protect him okay. And look at the supporting cast. Man, when I say that, I mean Frank Wright, Josh McCown, Jim Caldwell, who we don't – I mean, geez, they got some people there to help the quarterback out. So I think the transition has a chance to be as smooth as you can hope for a rookie quarterback.
Excellent.
Hey guys, real quick. So I know you all remember what it was like to play football when you were little, right? Marshall, Chris, Phil, Justin. You guys remember being the little kids on the field, right? Well, we have a special surprise today on Hang. Academy of Sports and Outdoors is actually hosting a watch party for a youth flag football league in Kansas City, right there in the suburb of Raymore, Missouri. So what we're going to do is we're going to go live and check in with those kiddos. They do have some questions they would like to ask. So Brooke, are you there? Brooke is right there at Centerview. Brooke, are you there? Are you guys, can you hear us?
Oh my God, CJ went to Texans. Oh my gosh.
What did I say?
Oh, wow.
Jay Watt, you were right. You were right.
Boy,
You get those top 2 picks, you go quarterback.
Your
or you
quarterback
trade
now.
Pick the reserve for
man,
the quarterback.
I got to tell you, I'm really surprised because it's just they put out all the smoke signals that it was. Why would you put him out there about? I don't know, but whatever. Good for him.
Phil,
all the beating.
Phil, let's say this.
I'm happy for DJ. Go ahead.
Phil, let's say DeMeco Ryan learned why the 49ers did not win a Super Bowl, regardless of how good your defense is. You got to have the right guy pulling the trigger.
No question.
That's what this is saying. DeMeco Ryans is saying that. We can build a defense, but you got to have the right quarterback. Think about what they went through and how good that defense was.
I understand. And, you know, I think I just was listening to all the noise out there going, CJ Stroud's, you know, his testing, his interviews, and on and on. It was really, it was just going over the top. But I'm happy for him. I thought he had a terrific season. I think he's accurate. He's got size. He can move around, which I think is underrated. And he's got a powerful arm. I think his arm's one of those guys, Marshall and everybody out there, listen, I think his arm's going to get better because that NFL ball, to me, is easier to throw than a college ball. And I think once he sees the speed of receivers, well, he sees that. But the defenses and everything goes on, that you got to put some pep on that ball every once in a while. And he has the ability to do that. So I'm happy for CJ.
What I like about this field is that they.
Go ahead, Marshall.
Oh, I was just saying what I like about this is they went by the tape. You know, they didn't go by all of that stuff, all the other reasons they try to find not to draft you. Based on the way that he played when he was at Ohio State and how he produced, that's what they went by. This is a football guy making a football decision.
I like it.
All right, we're going to try to check in with the kiddos because we want them to go ahead and get home so they can go to bed. You know how that is. You know, they probably have bedtime coming up in about 30 minutes, guys. So Raymore Parks, what's up, kiddos? Can you hear me? There you go.
Oh, look pretty.
Oh, the gritty. I love it. All right, Brooke, can you hear me? Yeah. All right, great. Are you guys having fun today? Awesome. Okay, so I hear you guys play football and you all have some questions for some of our athletes that are on here today. Are you guys watching the NFL draft there at your in Raymore? Okay. So who has the first question?
Come on up. Go ahead.
First, tell us your name. What's your name?
My name's Keegan. I have a question for Marshall Faulk.
Perfect.
As the greatest running back as one of the greatest running back in NFL history, who do you think is the greatest running back in the league currently?
Ooh, good
Man,
question.
that's a tough one right there. The greatest running back in the league currently. If I had to go and I classify backs because I think you have to be able to do multiple things. When I look at if you ask me all purpose back, it would be a toss up. I'd go with Christian McCaffrey and why am I drawing a blank on Alvin Kamara? That would be my all purpose. My power back. My power back would definitely be Derrick Henry, and then just multifaceted. Saquon Barkley is a guy that when you look at him and what he brings to the table, he's the multi-purpose back, 3-down back that can do it all and give you the power, the speed, and also the ability to break tackles and hit the home run.
Yeah.
Keegan, who's your favorite running back right now?
I guess Derrick Henry.
There you go.
Nice. Thank you so much for your question. Great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Keegan. All right, who's next, guys? Come on up.
I have a question for Marshall Faulk.
Okay, tell us your name first.
Who's his favorite? Who's his favorite quarterback?
Okay.
Favorite quarterback in the league, man. It's kind of hard to go against Patrick Mahomes and what he's able to do. But I'm gonna tell you this: I am in love with Jalen Hurts. I believe it's about distance travel. When you think about what this young man went through, losing his job at Alabama, transferring to Oklahoma, and then coming into the NFL and doing all the things that they said he could not do, humbly taking his team to the Super Bowl, and going toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes. I'm a Patrick Mahomes guy.
Thank you for your question. What about you, Phil? I want you to answer that one too, Phil. Who's your favorite quarterback right now?
Well, listen, we got to stop the conversation. Let's always say, who's your favorite quarterback after Patrick Mahomes? Who's going to pick somebody over Patrick Mahomes? And the problem is, I thought Patrick Mahomes this past year was the best play I've seen from him in his career. I don't care about the numbers, but man, he was dead-eye throwing the ball. And, he just knows how to move around to give a little more time to throw the football. And hey, look, we teach quarterbacks, my youngest son and I. Let's say we got 150 kids, and every one of them wants to imitate Patrick Mahomes. So it's a slam dunk right now who the best quarterback in the NFL. He's coached by a really good guy in Andy Reid, the system and all that. But forget all that. He is, without a doubt, the best quarterback in the NFL.
I love it. So who's your favorite quarterback? What's your name? I didn't get your name.
Oliver.
Oliver, who's your favorite quarterback?
Patrick Mahomes.
Of course.
Shot.
Good man.
Thank you, Oliver. So Justin, you guys are on the same team. What is Patrick really like in real life? We see television, but we can sometimes be a different person.
Patrick is as great of a quarterback as he is. He's just as great of a person. He's such a hard worker, really good husband, really good father. He brings a youth and a funness to the game. Even though he's starting to become an older guy in this league, he still brings that young energy every single day. And I'll say this: you think he makes some amazing throws in the games. You should see him at practice when there's no rules, and Coach Reid lets him just rip it anywhere he wants. That man is just in a total league of his own. It's been such a joy to play with him, you know, and I got to play with another GOAT in Tom Brady. So I see Patrick Mahomes. You know, I want to get him to where Tom is. That's all I'll say about that.
Awesome.
I'm just going to interject real quick, Jade. And just keeping everybody updated on the draft. The Texans are back up, and so Phil, this is the opportunity for D'Amico to get that edge that he wants, and to get some value and the quarterback at the same time. This is massive for the Houston Texans. But back to the kids.
Real quick, before we get to the kiddos, real fast, Chris, did they just pick somebody?
Will Anderson.
Yes, the pick is in. Yeah.
Man,
well,
I wonder when the last time a team's picked twice in the first 3 picks.
Yeah,
but they're getting the best. They're really getting the best of both worlds. You know, it's what each of them wanted. So, you know, you asked at the beginning of the broadcast who's making the pick. You know, is it D'Amico or is it Caserio? And both of them get what they want. Both of them get what they want, and something that really the Texans they need.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Chris. We appreciate it. So, Brett, I see your question. We'll get your question after the kiddos. Gus, I see yours. Matthew, Keith, Patricia, we're all going to get you on as well to be able to ask your questions. But we're going to go back to Raymore Parks. Hi, young man. What's your name?
Tell me your name.
Aiden.
Hi, Aiden. You have a question?
Yes.
Okay, what's your question?
Who do you think is the GOAT in general?
Say it one more time.
Who do you think is the GOAT?
Ooh, who do you think is the GOAT? Okay, I'll let you guys have it.
Give that question to Jay Watt because he's played with 2 GOATs.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
I played with both of them, and so I'll say this: I think, man, based on 7 Super Bowls, you know, Tom Brady has more Super Bowls than any franchise. You know, what he's done is unprecedented. So, as far as the greatest, there's no question that award goes to Tom Brady. But, you know, as far as the best quarterback to ever play the game, to make throws that no other quarterback can make, to win games that no other quarterback can win, I think Patrick Mahomes is making a case that there's games that he's won and throws that he's made that there's not another human being on this planet that has ever been able to make. Except you, Phil.
Right.
Oh, yeah, right.
I love that. Thank you, Aiden. All right. Hi.
Can you tell me your name?
What's your name?
Addison.
Hi, Addison. Do you have a question?
Yes.
Okay, what's your question?
What's your guys' favorite team?
Ooh, great question.
That's easy. I think that question goes to Chris.
I think Justin and I can answer this question. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that Justin's favorite team is the Kansas City Chiefs. And my favorite team is the San Francisco 49ers. So,
about those Chiefs.
Hey, calm down.
Thank you so much, Aiden. All right. Hi, what's your name?
Your name.
My name is Oliver.
Hi, Oliver. Another Oliver. Okay. Oliver, what's your question?
I have a question for Marshall Faulk.
Marshall Faulk. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's your question?
What when you first grew up was your team that like you wanted to play on?
Ooh, great question.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, and this is, you know, it's unbelievable that I wanted to play for them because they were so bad at the time. I'm from New Orleans, and in New Orleans, if you know anything about the city of New Orleans, we're passionate about our sports. I'm still, although I played for the Colts and the Rams, I'm an avid Saints fan. I'm a diehard black and gold. I wanted to play for the Saints. It was a childhood dream of mine. And at the time, we weren't the Saints. We were the Aints. We were so bad. They dropped the S. We couldn't win. And it was like, ain't gonna win no game.
That's terrible.
That's how bad we was, Phil. You know what I'm talking about. You know those days. Great defense, but boy, we just could not get over the hump.
That's great.
That's awesome. Thank you, Oliver. All right, we're gonna take one more question from Raymore Parks.
I have a question for Justin Watson.
Awesome. What's your name?
Silas.
Hi, Silas. Okay, go ahead with your question.
Who did you look up as a kid to?
Man, that is a great question, Silas. I think as far as a football player, my ultimate role model was my father. He was a great man and didn't play any professional sports, but he was a great person to look up to. Personally, who I looked up to growing up was Larry Fitzgerald. He was I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he played at the University of Pittsburgh and went on to have a great career with the Arizona Cardinals. But one thing that always stuck out about Larry Fitzgerald to me was everything on the field he did the right way. He blocked hard when he had the fun things like catching balls and running after the catch. He did those fantastic. Also, every day in practice, I heard he gave his 110%. And then off the field, Larry was known for doing so many things in the community. So that's an awesome question. Larry Fitzgerald is an awesome receiver, awesome guy to look up to for me.
Thanks so much, Silas. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Jade, I'm gonna cut in real quick again. We have the pick in.
Who'd they take?
The Colts have their pick in, and before
oh
that,
my God,
I just wanted to.
Anthony Richardson. That's what I was hoping for. This is awesome.
Hey, there we go.
It's
awesome.
I'm
sorry. I'm the guy who's gonna pull us back to the draft every once in a while.
I know.
We go on whatever tangents we want to go on, but I'm just gonna pull us right back so we can get the information and then go back. But Anthony Richardson is with the Colts. They have their quarterback of the future, and this is huge. Phil, I want to get your take on Anthony Richardson and the Colts.
Yeah, I did a podcast and I said, man, I'm just me as a fan. I wanted Anthony Richardson to go to the Colts for many reasons. One, Shane Steichen is there. I think we saw what he did with Jalen Hurts, and I don't want to box it that way, but he can do some of those same things. And also, the Colts are not going to win the Super Bowl. And when you take Anthony Richardson, I'm really strong on this. The fact, okay, you might start somebody else to start the season, but Anthony Richardson lacked, all the experience down in Florida. He didn't get to play long enough. But if you draft him, which the Colts did, we got to look to the future. Playing a lot this year, giving the experience, grooming. So when the second year comes around, we have a chance to get it done and maybe win some games with him as the quarterback. I think
Can you mute your mic for me, Keith?
They got a lot to work with here.
Thanks.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to you in just a second. Okay, real quick. Marshall, Gus C wants to know, where are you? Are you playing golf somewhere? Uh-oh, you're on mute. Hold on, we can't hear you. Nope, we can't hear you all of a sudden.
Oh.
Oh, looks like we have an AirPod malfunction.
It always exactly.
What do you think,
Well,
Chris? Let me hear your opinion on this.
My opinion is I like Anthony Richardson. Outside of the fact that he went to Florida, go Dogs. I like the pick. I love the underdog story. Like he said, he didn't get a lot of reps and not a ton of experience, but I think that will light a fire and have a chip on his shoulder. And I think that would be what you mentioned, of maybe him not starting the season off, giving him an opportunity to learn. Might be the best situation for them, because like you said, the Colts aren't necessarily thinking that 2023 is their Super Bowl season. So hopefully there's a plan in place for him to develop, and he's got great size, great athleticism, a strong arm, and hopefully they can put all of those pieces together and he can be the quarterback of the future.
Let me say this, Chris, because this is my big point about why I wanted him to go to the Colts. Know what be realistic. but he's got to play. And I'm going to put a number on it. He's got to get at least 10 starts and all that experience. At least. I would like to see I'd like to see a lot more than that. Because being an ex-quarterback, I just know this. When you walk to the line of scrimmage, you look over there when you're young, you go, hell, are they playing 13 guys? And then as you get older, you go in there and you go, man, they only got 9 guys over there, which I'm exaggerating, but that's how it looks. You understand everything. And you can only get that through experience. You can do all the film sessions you want and talk to them. You got to be on the field. So I think the Colts probably know, I know they know this. They'll find ways to make sure he gets plenty of experience this year to be ready.
So when do you think the Colts get him on the field? If he doesn't start game 1, and do you think he's in a package situation where he has his own package going into week 1, or do you think that they wait a few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I think they would give him something in those first couple of weeks, just if nothing else, to get in there and hand it off, just to see the field. But I just my first thought is maybe I don't expect him to start right away. And there's nothing like standing on the sideline either in a pro game, and all of you guys know, and just kind of seeing it, and you get a little feel for it. And I think that's good too. I think I would say my first thought is just groom him as much as you can in preseason, give him a lot of practice time, and then just put numbers on it week 3, 4, or 5. Find a way to make him the starter, and let's move on from there. No.
Excellent. We also have the details of the Houston Texans trade. The Texans give up the 12th pick, 33, a first in 2024, and a third in 2024. The Texans got pick number 3 and 1 of 5. So some value that they feel like they get for that pick, but they're giving up a few to get that edge rusher. But the Seahawks are on the clock right now, and for pick 5, the Seahawks have a few needs, and we talked about earlier in the broadcast how with the way that Geno played this past season, you know, the Seahawks should have confidence in the position of quarterback, and they have needs. They need an edge rusher, a safety. They need a backer. They need wide receivers they could always use, and someone on the offensive line. So where do you think, because of the Texans moving up, where do you think that the Seahawks go here? Or do you think that they continue to go with Jalen Carter, like you said earlier in the broadcast?
That's what I think. I think Jalen Carter, I looked at him and I don't like, boy, this guy will be mad and I say this to you, Chris. He reminds me a little bit about Warren Sapp. And Warren Sapp, I've worked with him on Inside the NFL. Don't ever compare anybody to him in his mind. But I'm saying he's Warren Sapp, but damn, he's close. He's one of those guys that's big, fast, and really nimble. I mean, the guy that can really change his angles and everything like that. I thought he was terrific. And yeah, I know we know all the other stories that are going around about him, but still, I really like him, and I think the Seahawks are going to take him.
I totally agree. I think, talking about team needs in the top 5, I think you really only draft a team need if it's quarterback. I think in the top 5, you got to draft just whoever you think the best player is that's still on the board. And to me, that's Jalen Carter. He's a once in a generation type athlete. Production was way up there. And I think, had he been totally healthy and ready, his testing would have been easily right there too. So I think he's the no-brainer pick right here.
And where did he go to school, Justin?
Yeah,
Justin, where did he go to school?
A couple of guys here.
Where did he go to school, Justin?
Georgia.
I just want to hear you say it. Oh, thank you,
Chris. If you play defense in Georgia, you're going to go in the first or second round. It looks like, because that's where it's working for all of us.
This is true. Hey, I gotta get the small victories where I can, because everybody else, all the players on this broadcast right now, have Super Bowl rings. I'm the one who missed the Super Bowl ring by 1 year twice. I missed it twice. So hey, I got to get the small victories where I can.
Oh, I hear that.
Chris, so we have someone else that just joined us. He is actually an NFL draft prospect. You guys, wide receiver from North Carolina, Josh Downs is on with us. What's up, Josh?
What's up? Oh, what's up? I was muted. My fault, but how are you?
Good. Thanks for hanging with us. We really appreciate it. So you hear all this talk, feel free to jump on in.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Josh, I as a receiver, and Justin can speak to this as well, having gone through the process of being a prospect on the doorstep of the league, what kind of emotions, what kind of feelings are you going through? What's going through your head right now? How's the night going for you?
Yeah, so this whole week I was actually in Kansas City doing some NFLPA events. So being around the draft, it was a surreal moment. I was with Jackson and Jigba a lot this week. I've known him for a couple of years. So just being at the draft and just seeing it firsthand, it's surreal. It's a blessing. And I'm just taking it all in. I really haven't been like a lot of nervous because I've been trying to look past it and just like focus on working out every day, just living day by day. And then woke up in the middle of the night last night and my stomach was low key like twisting and turning. I was getting a little nervous. So right now I'm just watching the draft, vibing. Just a blessing to be here, knowing that I have a good possibility of getting picked up.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm excited for you, man. I'm excited for you. And, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity and moment. I would just encourage you to take all of it in, and you're in a blessed position right now, and I'm excited for you. But Seattle's pick is in, and they take a cornerback.
Yeah.
Going defense. I'll start with Justin this time. Justin, what do you think about the pick?
Like I said, I was a little surprised. I'm a believer in the best pass defense is a good pass rush. But hey, he's a heck of a player. He's got everything you want in a corner. He's long, he's fast, and man, he's got that swagger. I think that's one thing you look for a corner. You're going to get beat in the NFL playing corner. It's going to happen. It happens to everybody. Do you have the confidence to bounce back the very next drive, the very next play? And I think this kid has, all the ability in the world and the intangibles.
I agree. Phil, what do you think about this pick? Seattle's defense had moments where they struggled last year, and a lot of people thought they were going to take someone on the D-line, like Justin said, to really bolster their pass rush, but really they're starting in the back end. What do you think how does this shape the rest of their draft, starting with a corner?
Well, what it does, it gives them two bookend corners. And, I thought Witherspoon was terrific, aggressive. I had him going to the Detroit Lions with the next pick. I thought, well, I got two sure guys. I thought Bryce Young and Jalen Carter are wrong, but it does. I had him, Witherspoon. I had him as the number one corner when I watched these guys. Very aggressive, not afraid. I love you can do certain things against guys that are really aggressive, but also I'm just telling you, as a quarterback, that's scary. Because you throw certain routes, I got to be careful about him because he's not afraid to break on it, take a chance, and get those interceptions. So the Seahawks, that's a really good pick. You couldn't go wrong. And let me say this real quick. Josh, I don't know if he's still on. I watched him a lot at North Carolina, and the number one thing I wrote down about him, he's tough. And that was changing speeds, great, very deceptive. And avoid the tackles once he catches the ball. So Josh Downs is going to go early in the draft too. I just want to say congratulations, Josh. I hope it goes well for you.
Hey, I appreciate you. I like your notes as well. So I feel like
we are there. Read about you right there, baby.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Josh, you're a Georgia boy, right?
Oh yeah, I'm in Georgia right now, so I'm back home.
Hey, Georgia boy. Hey, all I'm saying is guys coming out of Georgia. They know something about ball. That's all I'm saying.
That's high school football in America. We're
there we go. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. We got boos in the chat. We love those boos. We love every single one of them. Georgia sports all day. We also had someone saying
every time.
We also had someone saying that this is Honey Badger version. That Witherspoon is Honey Badger version 2. Version 2, and all his crazy fact is that he's a professional trash talker. So I'm interested to see how that plays out, because the Seahawks have a history with that defense being able to talk and back it up. Maybe they're getting that back.
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat from Dallas, and it's for all the guys. It says, moving forward, where do you see the Seattle Seahawks in terms of title contender in the next 5 years?
That's good. I'm gonna give that. Is Marshall still here, or did we lose Marshall?
He's there.
He's still here.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
And here's what I'm gonna say about that. Yeah, no, that's a good question. And listen, here's what Seattle does. They always draft well. They rarely miss on the guys that they draft. And I'm gonna say this, and it comes down to Geno. They paid a guy who had an exceptional year. I mean, nobody expected this from Geno. My question is, I think Geno the only one who knew that he could do this. Now he has to go out with the money and duplicate the success. Here's the thing. I always look at this. When you notice about the position, a lot of things went right for Geno last year. When a lot of things go wrong, and now your pay and what's expected of you, expectation sometimes hurts a player. And if Geno can handle what's going to be expected of him and continue to produce, I agree with you, Chris. I agree with if Seattle will be a playoff contender, no doubt about it. But Geno has to play, I'm gonna say, above his pay grade.
Yeah, let me answer that, Marshall. I'll answer that real quick. First off, I've been around Geno a lot. If you can go back and look at all my comments and before the season started, preseason football, Geno's got some talent. And you know what? He's been to hell. So, so I think that toughness of being there, what went with the Jets, being a backup for many years. And, people don't realize he's big, he can move, and he's got a terrific throwing arm. So Seattle last year, remember their draft last year? They absolutely crushed it. They had 2 rookie linemen, offensive linemen. So, man, this Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's trying to get that one last piece of juice out of himself to win one more title, whatever. I just think, they're moving in the right direction. They're going to be a pain in the butt, for sure. But I really am. I'm really happy for Geno. I saw what he went through. The Jets, the Giants, whatever. And he waited his turn in Seattle. And you know why they made the move? Because they saw him every day in practice and go, let's see if he carries that to the game. Pete Carroll said that, and he did that last year. So I'm just really happy for him.
All right, real quick, you guys, while we're waiting on this next pick to come in, we got to pay some bills. So I just want to remind everybody, for those of you who are ready to get your shopping on, we have some great news. You can actually get 15% off your next online purchase now through May the 5th by texting HANG to 22369. That's text HANG to 22369 for 15% off your next online purchase right there at Academy Sports and Outdoors. So get your phones out. Please go ahead and text that number. Again, HANG to 22369 so you can get your 15% off code. Get some really, really great deals. Now, we have a $100 gift card we want to give out right now from Academy Sports and Outdoors. And the first person, now, Chris, you're going to have to watch the chat because they come in really fast, okay? But the first person to answer the question correctly will actually win this $100 gift card.
Hold on, babe.
Keith, can you mute for me, please? Keith, you got to keep yourself on mute. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. All right. Here's the question. Justin Watson has had some star teammates. We spoke about this earlier. But which of them was actually drafted lowest? Was it A, Patrick Mahomes, B, Travis Kelce, C, Tom Brady, or D, Mike Evans?
Wow, Cardinals.
Y'all answer quick. Answer so fast. Who is that? Do you see the answer, Chris?
Yeah, I'm trying to scroll to see who was first, though.
I know. You got to scroll.
Do we have any help here?
I
think I see who it is.
Tom Brady.
Oh, well, yeah, that's easy.
Benjamin C was the first one. Yep. Benjamin C is the winner. Benjamin, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Thank you so much. We are going to be sending you a $100 gift card courtesy of Academy Sports and Outdoors. You'll be able to buy some really, really cool stuff with this. One of my favorite stores. And remember, go ahead and send that text so you can get your 15% off or you get even more. Okay, Benjamin, thanks for hanging with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all.
Yes, thanks. Okay, Chris, go ahead. Back to the picks.
The Cardinals have made their
I'm about
pick.
to head out. I'm about to head out.
Go ahead,
I
Josh.
appreciate y'all's time and I had a good time hanging with y'all. I'm gonna head out and spend some time with my family.
All right, Josh.
Josh, we
Thank you for
appreciate
stopping
you.
through, Josh. The Cardinals
Hey,
have
Chris,
made
I
their
see somebody
pick.
else is joining us too. I don't know if you can see him right now. We have Tony Richardson, who's actually live from the draft right now. Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame fullback, played 10 seasons with the Chiefs, 3-time Pro Bowl selections, Walter Payton Award winner. What's up, Tony?
Hey, how we doing? Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Hear ya.
We
Yes.
can. Can you give us
Yeah,
the
I'm doing- I'm
vibes from Kansas City right now? What's going on?
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I think everyone knew the first pick was going to be. I think the second pick, kind of like everyone's like, whoa, but I'm like, I don't understand why that was such a big surprise. But it's interesting. I know we have a lot of people, who are in the media and talk very eloquently every day. But it's interesting how much stuff started coming out about this young man.
Oh.
And I could just look. The look on his face was just like a relief, because I even think that he was like, man, where all this stuff came from? Like nothing changed from when I last threw my last football up until today. But yeah, I think that was a big surprise. I think everything else has kind of been, I think Richardson. The Richardson pickup to the Colts, I think that was a good pickup. I think that was a surprise to some too as well. And everyone thinks that he's my son, but I'm like, no, I'm Antonio Richardson. I'm Antonio Richardson. He's Anthony Richardson. That is not my son. So we're gonna go ahead and put that out there right now. That is not my kid. I mean, I'll take him now though. He makes more money than I do, so I'll take him now.
Double some money to dad, I'll tell you.
I know, right? I'm your long lost dad. What are we talking about?
Okay, great player, man. It's good to talk to you tonight.
Good to talk to you as well.
Yeah, I mean, how about the Cardinals did a great job. They traded whatever and got back in here and got Paris Johnson. Boy, Ohio State, they're going to have 3 offensive linemen picked and probably, somewhat high, whatever. But, man, it's Paris Johnson's a real deal, and that was a good pick for the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's a great pick. And I think as a former running back, fullback, anytime you can get, for me personally, anytime you can get offensive linemen, whether if it's a guard, a tackle, a center, like you can't have enough of those guys. And I feel the same way about guys on defense. You can't have enough pass rushers, defensive interior linemen, definitely offensive tackles. Like those guys are, when you start playing football, everyone wants to pick up the football and start throwing it around. I think the guys in the trenches, that's where you make your money. So I actually had this kid at the combine. I was like, man, he might be the biggest human I've ever seen in my life. So he's a big man.
Hey, look, he wasn't even the biggest guy in their offensive line. They're right. Dawan Jones, I hope I said that right. He's the right tackle. He's 6'8", and man, he engulfed people too. So
I just don't understand. Like I'm in Kansas City now. As soon as you walk outside, all you smell is barbecue. But I don't know what you can eat to get to be 6'8", 400 pounds. I don't know. I wasn't on that diet. I don't know what it is.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's
to
be a tackle in the NFL now. You got to be 325 to start, or somewhere
and
in that
can
area.
Run.
People. Yeah. And can run. Yeah, exactly.
Can absolutely move. If you saw some of those highlights, that is a big man moving very fast. Very, very fast.
Could you imagine if you're like a linebacker or even a corner and this guy's pulling around the edge? You got to make that business decision. Like, yeah, I think I tripped on something, because you do not want to get rolled up by that big man.
At all. But with that pick, the Cardinals have added Paris Johnson to their line. They've also added Kelvin Beachum, and they've also added Will Hernandez. So really trying to get some depth and bolster their offensive line to give Kyler some more protection.
Yeah,
I'll say this. You know what the Cardinals' offensive line was last year? It really is just one word. They were awful. Awful. We got to protect the quarterback a little bit. I know Kyler can run around when he's healthy and all that, but they need to fix this line in the worst way. So they need a lot of help, but this is a good start for them, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely do. The Cardinals have needs on defense. They have quite a few needs on defense, which their defense struggled last year. But starting out with a tackle to give the quarterback of their future, that protection that they need. The Raiders have their pick in. The Raiders have their pick, and And Phil, you predicted that Paris would go to the Raiders. So now where do the Raiders go from here?
Yeah, they could end up taking a corner here. It wouldn't shock me, that's for sure. Would Gonzalez from Oregon go here? The Raiders need, man, just throw something up there. They need it all. They need a tight.
They have a history of drafting these corners in the first round.
What's that, Justin?
So they have a history of drafting corners pretty high in the first round. So
the problem is they've missed on those corners.
Yeah,
so,
corners and fast receiver.
This is
guys,
true.
we have a couple other guys that just jumped on as well. Real quick, we have Michael Fabiano, senior fantasy analyst for Sports Illustrated, also host on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio and Westwood One, FSWA Hall of Famer, formerly of CBS Sports and NFL. Hey, Michael, are you there?
What's up?
Thanks for hanging with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we hear you, Michael.
Hey, Phil. Long time no talk.
Yeah, I know, Michael. You know what Michael's doing? He's sitting here looking at the draft going, well, we need more guys that can get us, for fantasy football to make some points. I'm in points. So
exactly. I'm waiting to see where Bijan goes. That's the big one for me.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
We also have Tyler Smith joining us. You guys, he's an offensive tackle for the Dallas Cowboys.
That's what I'm talking about.
He was the Cowboys' first round pick in the 2022 draft. He played for the University of Tulsa, grew up in Fort Worth, Texas. What's up, Tyler?
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm doing good, chilling.
That's right. Bleeding blue over here, Tyler.
Oh, yeah. Listen, let me say this, Jake. Let me say, Tyler, last year you were a first-round pick. I heard all the critics, and you know what you told them all? You told them to shut up. I mean, you had a tremendous rookie year, man. I tell you, I watched you a lot, and you really, really played well. And of course, the thing about you coming out was that you're mean as hell, and I think you showed that in the NFL too.
I appreciate it. It was a journey, but we just getting started.
Can I ask Chris really fast?
Go
Chris,
for it.
Can I ask a girl question? And I'm sorry to be the girl on here, but I do want to know from Tyler and all the rest of you guys, I want to talk the fashion, because when I tell you the fashion game is ridiculous, so how do you decide what you're going to wear to the draft? Because when the top prospects came out this year, I was like, wow, they know they got some money on the way. So Tyler, how did you pick your outfit from last year? I need to understand.
I mean, my agent actually helped me out with a lot of that. He commissioned a tailor to make me a suit. And a funny story about that actually is my suit did not make it on time for the draft. So I was at the same NFLPA event that Josh was at, and we had to go to a department store out there and get a quick suit just to wear the next day. I got drafted by that next evening, and that's what I wore to the Star when they did my tour and stuff. So that was kind of funny.
Nice and stressful, I'm sure. Okay, I just had to ask the fashion question because Chris, the fellas are pushing through tonight with these suits.
It's a good question. It is a great question and one we need to know. But I'm just going to throw this out here: the Raiders with the 7th pick. Tyree Wilson, they get an edge to go opposite of Max Crosby, bolstering their defense, making it a little bit harder for J-Watt to score, maybe getting a little bit closer to Patrick Mahomes before the ball comes out. But this is a good pickup. This is I mean, we had Phil in your mock draft, you had him going a lot earlier than this. So this is a lot of value that the Raiders are getting here, and a guy who can do a lot of things, who can affect offenses.
It's really what you're looking for to try to pick these guys and whatever. If you're looking for a pass rusher, I know Will Anderson's a terrific player and all that, but I think this is a special pass rusher. I really do. Now you said it, Chris. Max Crosby on one side, they need the guy to go with him. They need that big time. The Raiders, like we said, need a lot of players. And also, did you talk about fashion, Jay? Did you see Tyree? Did you see his outfit that he was wearing?
Yes, I did. I actually did. I'm loving all of this. Yes.
I mean, that was some look.
Didn't you wear something like that when you got drafted back in the 70s? You were wearing something like that, right?
Yeah, you know, Michael, thank you so much. I got drafted by the Giants in 1979, and I had to borrow a sport coat from one of my roommates because I didn't have one. And of course, the draft wasn't publicized back then, thank God. So
I was gonna say, go show us the picture. We know you have a picture.
no, I don't. Come on, we didn't take selfies and pictures back then.
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
that was
sorry. Yeah, I guess you're right.
1978. Yeah, that's it.
We were on rotary phones. There were no cell phones.
That is, there you go. You're right. That's what it was. But good.
Raiders get. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I
think it's
the
a
draft
fantastic
moving.
pick.
Go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic pick. Like you said, not just a guy, but really a fantastic pass rusher to go opposite Max Crosby. And Phil, anyone that's played offense, it's you can game plan around one guy, you can chip one guy, you can double team one guy. When you have two real guys coming after the quarterback, it's a pick your poison battle. We faced that, this year with the Raiders. We faced that this year with the Chargers. And, just one of those guys is going to have one-on-one, protection. And I think Tyree Wilson will see a lot of that this year. Is going to set him up for a ton of success.
Justin, I got to ask you
Are we allowed to tell people who the picks are before Goodell gets up there? Because
sure,
this pick by Atlanta is huge. And
they take Robinson.
They're taking Bijan, which I'm a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, and I'm still friends with Phil and Marshall. This Marshall hates the Cowboys, but I love Tyler Algier and what he did last year in Atlanta. So I'm kind of bummed about the fact that he's not going to get a chance to sort of take things to the next level. But Bijan Robinson in Atlanta, he's going to end up being a first-round pick in fantasy and the number one pick in Dynasty. That's one heck of a pickup. And if they're building that offense, you got Kyle Pitts, Drake London. Yeah, they got to probably add another wide receiver here or there, but Desmond Ritter's got some weapons now, and Bijan Robinson's every bit the stud 3-down back, best back to come out of college since Saquon.
Well, remember this, Michael. Who's the coach, the head coach? Arthur Smith. He created, or not created, but he found a way for Derrick Henry in Tennessee. And the quickest way to fix your team and to get really that what you really want, that hit, that everything about it, is to take Bijan Robinson. Yes, you're right about the Algier, but he's a power back. This is a guy that can do everything: catch the ball, break tackles, outrun you. I didn't pick many of them right in the order. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I got 7 of these first 8. Well, that's not saying much. They would go high in this draft or whatever. But this was the one that I really picked on and go, man, this is taking a chance, breaking that mold. We can't take a running back in the first round and all that. He's a difference maker. And let's quit looking 20 years down the road. I'm exaggerating. Let's look a couple years down the road. Let's make Atlanta make a big jump as a football team, I think. So I'd like to hear what you guys think too.
So the Falcons, Arthur Smith coming from the Titans. The Titans have that run-heavy offense. They also have King Henry, and having King Henry and being able to build your football team around a guy like that, you're getting someone extremely dynamic in Bijan. And I agree with everything that you guys have said. This guy, now that he's in Atlanta, he's the future. He's the future, and he's someone that you can plug in to that offense, really any offense, any scheme, and he'll be a difference maker from day one. The Atlanta offense averaged just over 21 points a game, and they want to take this far beyond that, be able to control the clock and get more points with Bijan. So I'm excited about this pick. I think it's great. I live right outside of Atlanta, and even though I don't play for the team, it always makes me feel good when people in the city feel good, and they're excited right now.
I wonder if they move Cordero Patterson back to more of a wide receiver role now, because they could use it too. I mean, I know they brought in Mac Hollins, but maybe Patterson moves back and plays a little more wide receiver, and they just go Bijan as the 3-down back and Algier as the backup.
Right. Well, they'll use him both. And Cordero, to get him, look, he was wearing down last year, so he's getting up there. So, space him out a little better and use him in a different role, more like little things instead of trying to handle the ball.
Can we meet